Alrighty, so I posted a video about this device. This is gonna be the first video where you're not gonna see me at all, because the first video review of this particular mixer that I posted, the reason people didn't like it was because there was very little of this device that was actually shown, even though it was descriptively talked about. But that's beside the point. So today, none of me, all just this device. So when I first did the review, I'd only had it for maybe a month or two, but now I've owned this thing for years, and so I can kind of more accurately give a proper breakdown of this particular mixer. This, for some of you who don't know, is my go-to voiceover mixer. This is my preferred audio interface. This is what I do all of my voiceover work, all of my videos, etc. and so forth, is all with this particular device. Now, right now, you're listening to me on the Sennheiser MKH416, which is my preferred microphone. It's also the cleanest microphone. I'm also using my highest quality audio cable, XLR cable for it. So you're getting the best audio example of what this device can do as possible. Cleanest mic, cleanest cable means that if you're going to be hearing any hiss or any hum or anything mechanical or anything like that that isn't outside noise, it's going to be from this device. And from what y'all can hear, there is very, very little. There is, of course, outside AC units running just on the other side of this wall that you can kind of hear the low rumbling from, but outside of that, this is a very clean device. So, some people don't understand mixers and how to use them, and they look at all these knobs and buttons and dials and all this kind of stuff and all these settings, and they get very intimidated. I talk to a lot of people who are getting into voiceover, and they are overwhelmed by all the different knobs, and they're very confused, and they're like, I don't want to touch a mixer, it looks too complicated. And yes, it looks very complicated. However, as I said in the previous video, this is actually quite easy to understand. Also, something that I say in a lot of my other videos is that it is good, and it should be your objective, to do all your editing before you hit stop on the recording, before you hit start and before you hit stop. So most of your editing should be done before you're even done recording. And what I mean by that is all your levels should be set accurately, and your microphone should be set in the right place. You should be very familiar with the script. Do what you can to get rid of mouth noise and make sure that you're in a well-treated space. That's most of what you would need to edit, clean up, and take care of before you hit stop and start on the recording. And a mixer will help you with that. It will absolutely help you. First of all, we have the gain, and in my first video, I'm going to turn this down a little bit. In my first video, I still didn't quite understand gain, but some people have kind of helped me understand it. And so basically, this is more of like, so levels are more like, basically it's taking the gain and taking it up and down. It's setting the overall volume of the entire thing up and down. Gain is more like how much juice you're giving to the microphone. Is more like how much you're giving and putting into the microphone. And if you're going to get any peaking, it's going to be from the gain more than anything. If you're getting peaking in the gain, you're absolutely, regardless of how low it is on the levels, you're still going to have peaking. So gain is normally going to be set a little bit lower, and levels are going to be set a little bit higher. So that way you have a lot more headroom. So the input from the microphone is not going to overpower the gain. So that's those. Again, if you want a little bit more of a breakdown, a little bit more detail, there's other videos that you can find, I'm sure, totally. But this is just like a real quick overview. Next thing, and this is something that I've actually ended up using a lot, and that is compression. Not a lot in all of my voiceover. There's a lot of voiceover that I do that I actually try not to use really any compression, because I want the client to be able to tweak it however they want, but I always use at least a little bit of compression. And the reason I do a little bit of compression is because I don't want it to clip just in case, even if I set my levels and my gain appropriately for what I'm recording, there's still a chance that my energy level and my volume will change based on the things that I'm reading. I do a lot of character work, and that's going to be normal. You're going to be going up and down, you're going to be whispering, you're going to be yelling, you're going to be all this kind of stuff. And you don't want to set your gain and your levels every single time. So compression will basically just make it where if you do go too loud, it will kind of save a little bit of it. It'll shave a little bit, not shave it, but just kind of save a little bit of the high loudest parts. And you want to use a little bit, not too much. And if you need more compression later on, then you can use a little bit more compression. But if you do too much in here, then no matter what you do in the editing, you can't fix that. You can't erase it. You can't change it. So never do too much compression. Now, past this is the EQ. Now, if you look at this, every single one of these are in different columns. They all got this blue line. And so that basically, all of these green are doing the exact same thing for that channel. So essentially, when working with a mixer, basically the only thing you have to learn is this first column. Most of these other channels, a lot of these will do the exact same thing. This is effects, which I will not be going through the effects because this is for voiceover. This is not for podcasts. This is not for music. This is not for karaoke. I do voiceover, which is another thing that people didn't understand in the previous review. I do voiceover, and I don't use any effects in my voiceover on this mixer, so it's not something that I focus on, okay? But here's, if you want to zoom in and read these, they basically do exactly what you think they do. Maybe I'll turn one on so you can hear the quality of them. But so over here we have EQ, which is high, the highs, which as you can see right here, it says basically the range or what it focuses on is the 10 kilohertz. And then over here we have the mids, which is the 2.5 kilohertz. And then we have the low, which is 100 hertz. And it's not exactly 100 hertz. It's kind of like, that's more of like where it focuses. It's a smooth curve. It's a smooth curve. So if I was to, like, this is too bright. This is normally too bright for me, which is why it was set to kind of like right there earlier. You can see that it takes some of the S off, kind of the sibilance. And if I get too close and it's too bassy, or if I want to get rid of some of the AC rumble, I turn a little bit of the low end off. See? So this is why I normally have these two slightly off from 12 o'clock. I normally have them a little bit off to help get rid of some of the low-end rumbling noise from outside, whether it's traffic, people playing, neighbors, you know, AC units, what have you. And then I take a little bit of the top end off because my voice is a little bit too sibilant. So this is normally how I have it, and that will be the same for over here. Now, these channels don't have mid, but essentially the low is exactly the same and the high is exactly the same. And then below that, we have the effects dial, which isn't going to be on all mixers because not all mixers have effects, but this one does. So let's go ahead and just play with this. Turn this bad boy on, and then we're going to turn this up. So now you can hear a little bit of the reverb, and then we can change basically how much of the effects there are, or the strength of the effects, and then over here we change how much the effects overpower my voice. That's basically what these two dials do. It's going to do that, turn that back off, and it's off. So over here we can select the which effects we want, and then they're all listed, and then what we would do is we would just push that in, you know, and it selects it. I do that. You know, anytime I ever do anything for like singing or any effects that I want to do for like Skype or anything like that, that's normally the one I use, but whatever. And then over here we have pan, which is not going to work for this necessarily because, you know, okay, so pan would be left channel, right channel. So if I wanted this to only appear in the left channel, you know, so it should be coming in only in the left side of your headphones or the left speaker, and then the right side, the right speaker. Normally, I only use these when I'm using two microphones for like the ASMR stuff that I record in my studio for a particular client, I will set one to the left and then one to the right, and then we use two pencil condensers, the exact same ones, and so we get this nice stereo effect. That's normally what that's used for. When you're only using one microphone, really all you're doing is you're just making it where one channel is just dead. So there's no point in using that if for voiceover. So these two are essentially useless for voiceover. Essentially useless. So if you're just getting this for voiceover, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 to worry about. Anything past that, basically this is headphone volume and this is USB volume, meaning how much audio is coming into the headphones from the computer. From, if you're listening back to whatever it is you recorded, or if you're listening to music or someone else speaking or something like that, that's what this would be doing. Anything that's coming into the device, because this is an interface. So this plugs into the computer via USB. It gets power through an actual power cable. So it's not needing to drain any power from the computer. It's plugged directly into the outlet, which also means that if I was to unplug the USB, I can still use this as a regular mixer. I can actually use this on the road with just the power cable, not needing the USB, and I can actually connect stuff through the output channels and still use it as a regular mixer. But right now, this is just, I use this for voiceover. So, past that, we have the pad, which is kind of like where it basically makes everything quiet a little bit. It just turns the volume down a lot. And what you'd normally use this for is, let's say you're recording music, which I don't record, so I had no experience. Again, I review this on voiceover. Please remember that. If you are recording things like drums or anything that's really, really loud, someone screaming, and you couldn't turn the gain and levels down enough and still get a clean signal, what you would do is hit that, and that gives you a lot more headroom. That gives you a lot more flexibility in your volume and in your gain. So, yeah, that's basically it. And again, this provides 48 volts, and it's only on these 4 channels. None of these get phantom power. Ignore that. I mean, obviously, these can't do it anyway. So these 4 get phantom power, but only these 2 have compressor, which I actually want to get another mixer that has all 4 for compression, so I can do things more like interviews with multiple people, that kind of stuff. But anyway, yeah, that's basically it for my review on this device. The link to it will be in the description, as always. I've used this for years, and of all the interfaces that I've used and all the devices that I've used for recording voiceover and connecting to my computer, this is the one that's lasted the longest. It's the one that's sounded the best, and it's the one that's given me the best quality. I've made, tens of thousands, maybe $100,000 off this one device, just, regular voiceover. So, yeah, so there you go. This is one of my favorite mixers, favorite interface. I love this brand. There it is right there. Link will be in the description. If you guys like the video, if you think it's better to not see my face for this kind of stuff, give it a thumbs up. If you think this one's better than the previous review, give it a thumbs up. If not, if you're still unhappy because I didn't approach it from, music, then I guess I can't help you, and all is lost. But anyway, subscribe if you're new, bell for notifications, and leave down in the comment section below. Like me cover any other topics or review any other products. And until next time, peace!